This side of survival, a love letter to the broken. How did I end up here, on this peculiar side of survival? Was it written in the stars? Or did I trip on fate's uneven cobblestones and land face first in the chaos of my own heart? Honestly, if the universe had a blueprint for me, I suspect it was drafted in crayon and left out in the rain. I often wonder, was I molded by something divine? Or was it just the cosmic equivalent of a toddler with Play-Doh? If I squint hard enough, maybe I can see the fingerprints of something greater in the places I refuse to smooth over. And goodness, why was I drawn, like a moth to a flame, to the people who seemed to carry their own storm clouds? Was it their mystery, their jagged edges that matched my own? Or was it just the gravitational pull of shared chaos, like two spinning tops destined to collide in a symphony of well-intentioned disaster? And maybe, just maybe, my love life was proof of that same gravitational pull. Complicated? That's the only way to describe it. I can still remember my first crush as a kid, always insisting, "No, I don't like her." But of course, I did. It was obvious. We were both top of our class, and even then, intelligence was a magnet for me. Something about brilliance, about sharp minds and quick thinking made a person unforgettable. That realization stuck with me, though in my grandmother's house, girlfriends weren't allowed. My friends, that's what they were called instead. A vague and perfectly controlled term. Maybe that's why, even at a young age, the ones I wanted were always the ones just out of reach. It was strange, really, how I was drawn to older women, how that fascination never faded. Names still linger in the back of my mind. Venus, Dawn, Sherry, and, well, there was Ms. Geneva. But let me clear something up about her. It wasn't desire. It was her warmth, her loving touch. Now, Dawn, Venus, Sherry. That was another level. Too young to fully understand what I was feeling. Too young to name the pull, but old enough to know it was something different. Then there was Ro and M, the ones I looked back on and wished I had been better. The ones where hindsight brought clarity and regret, where I saw my own mistakes instead of just the wounds left behind. And then there was the prize, or so I thought. A relationship that wasn't a love story, but a pawn's position in a twisted game. A lesson learned too late, but a lesson nonetheless. Until my cousin Rachel pulled me out. Out of the chaos, out of the manipulation, out of something that had swallowed pieces of me before they even knew they were missing. And then, emancipation. 16. Free will finally mine. And where did I land? In a relationship with an older woman. Way older. Nothing nefarious, but her son and I were on the same basketball team, and if that didn't add an extra layer of strange to an already complicated existence, I don't know what would. Then came the weekends. The closest thing I had to untethered freedom, the illusion of normalcy. Super 8 motel, a handful of rented rooms, no real agenda except the escape itself. No wild, reckless debauchery. Just music humming through cheap walls, a little Crown Royal swirling in paper cups, the faint smell of fry grease and cigarette smoke clinging to the air after a night at Champs. The local hole in the wall where the jukebox knew us better than anyone else did. Some Saturdays, the dawn came too soon. Basketball games waiting, responsibilities calling. We'd drag ourselves from whatever temporary sanctuary we had built, shaking off the haze, pulling jerseys over our heads before heading to KFC, the meeting point, the place where the team assembled before catching the bus. The rituals were familiar, almost comforting. These were memories tucked in the back pocket for rainy days, the kind I could pull out years later and hold like a worn-out Polaroid. Because here's the truth. I had friends, but I had found them under a roof built from indentured servitude. an emancipated child, forced to be an adult, but still making childish decisions, laughing too loud, pretending I wasn't carrying weight meant for men twice my age, believing moments of levity were enough to offset the fractures. In those rooms, in those nights spent swaying between reckless joy and deep exhaustion, I was still trying to figure out if survival meant freedom, or just another version of captivity wearing a different name. And maybe that's the paradox. Some decisions are forced upon us. Some are made in the haze of survival. And some are fully ours. I've never claimed to be perfect. Never claimed to be without fault, without mistakes, without moments where I chose wrong simply because I didn't know how to choose right. I wasn't the perfect child, wasn't the perfect adult, but I was something else, something stronger in the cracks, something shaped by what I had endured. Some choices are made for us, etched into circumstance before we ever have a say. Others, we make with full awareness that they will either break us or shape us. And sometimes those two things are indistinguishable. I've walked roads built by necessity, roads paved in desperation, roads carved by sheer force of will. I've made decisions in darkness, decisions in ignorance, decisions in hope, and decisions in defiance. And now, as I sit here, pen in hand, pouring my thoughts into what I audaciously call a love letter, I can't help but laugh. Maybe the joke's on me, or perhaps the punchline hasn't landed yet. Maybe survival itself is the gag reel, full of missed cues and bad edits that somehow make the final cut. Either way, this side of survival is oddly beautiful, sharply ironic, and wholly mine.